Hey Chopper, this viewer's not subscribed.
Card Kaizoku.
This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. Hey, subscribe my Patreon. Thank you. Alright, so all 6 of the OP08 leaders have been revealed. I thought I'd take like a look at all of them and give you my first impressions of them and like think of ways that you could play the leaders. First off, we have this dual color red-green Chopper card. His leader effect reads, activate main once per turn, put up to 1 Rested Dawn each to up to 3 of your animal or drum kingdom type characters. So yeah, it's really red in that regard where it uses Rested Dawn, and you're allowed to distribute 3 out to 3 other animals you have on the field or drum kingdom cards. There's no drum kingdom character cards, I believe, for now. So looking at the animal package, the existing animal package at least, we have this Chopper from OP04 that does let you cheat out another animal on play. So with the ability to like spread out 3 extra Rested Dawn onto animals, and this Chopper being able to cheat out another animal, you could probably surmise that it's going to be sort of like a weenie type deck, right? Where you'll make a bunch of 5k attackers that you can swing with, and hopefully there's easy ways to get many like 4k attackers out that you can just buff to 5 for 1 Dawn. Either that, or it'd have to be cards that have strong effects when you have a Dawn attached to them. There's also this Chopper from EB01 who is a blocker, and then yeah, he has an effect when he attacks with 2 Dawn attached, so you could use that Rested Dawn to activate his when attacking. But you need 2, so just the red-green Chopper's leader ability is not enough. You'll need also 1 additional free standing Dawn to activate this. So with the current card pool of animals in red and green, it doesn't look too great right now. It's really going to depend on the animals that they print in OP08 itself. And with leaders like this, archetypes like this, and like playstyles like this, you can't really tell how good the deck is going to be until the set is actually released, right? It's either going to be a Reiju, where the entire package is within OP06 and it works really well and it makes her a top meta deck, or it's going to be like Hody, where yeah, same thing, all the fishmen are also in OP06, but it doesn't make the deck work. So honestly, this Chopper could go either way. Could be good, could be bad, just really depends. I have a feeling that they're not going to make it too weenie focused, because that's kind of like Zoro's thing. So I think they'll probably print more animals with strong like Dawn attached effects. And yeah, like hopefully other animals, because the only animals worth running are both Choppers. Unless it's like a fully Chopper deck. That'd be interesting too, I guess. The second leader we have here is Carrot, mono green Carrot. Her leader ability reads, activate main once per turn. If you have a character with the Minx type in play, rest up to 1 of your opponent's cost 5 or less characters. So Carrot is kind of like Perona in that you can rest a character for free every turn. But with the caveat that Carrot's conditions are a lot harder to meet. You need an existing Minx type character already on board, and it has to be 5 cost or more. So this effect isn't something you can use until you're at least 5 Dawn. Meanwhile with Perona can tap even from the first turn. Even if you can't attack, right, on your 2 Dawn turn, you could rest for fun, I guess. And yeah, you don't need anything else on board to rest while you're at it. You can just always rest a 4 cost. That's the other caveat. Perona is 4 cost while Carrot is 5. 5 does hit a lot more like annoying and like meaningful targets than 4. The current metagame is kind of centered around 4 costs, or being able to like easily remove them. So 5 costs have been like the premier answer to that, but Carrot seems to be the answer to that answer. But just judging from the card itself, it does sound quite hard to meet the threshold to utilize this effect. And again, I think it does depend on what they'll print in support for Carrot in OP08. Let's see, what would make Carrot good? Maybe a way to cheat out a 5 cost Minx before you're at 5 Dawn, so you can use your effect 1 turn earlier. It'd have to be something like that, or like strong Minx cards with very good on-play effects that affect rested characters, right? Something akin to like a Ryuma or X-Drake, but specifically for Carrot and can hit a 5 cost or higher. And judging from the current card pool of Minx characters, there's like this 2k counter Carrot that's the only 5 cost, so it really will depend on the entirety of OP08 being revealed to know how good this card will be. Yeah, would be hopeful to see Turret be a good deck, but it being a monocolor deck means that the leader ability can't be too strong. And it just could be me liking Carrot as a character, but I kind of feel like it won't be a good deck. Just my intuition kind of speaking there. We'll move on to the third leader. It's one of the most anticipated leaders. This one has the most hype around it. It's Red Blue Marco. Probably one of the leaders with the highest possibility of being like meta. What Marco does is Dawn ×1, activate main once per turn. You can draw one card and then you can place one card from your hand, either back on top or on the bottom of your deck. Then give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2k for this turn. That's 2k power too, by the way. So a lot of people liken this to Blue-Black Sakazuki in that he does kind of have like a pseudo cycle ability and then also a reduction ability. The only difference is that instead of cost reduction, it's power reduction, which is a lot more difficult to work with than it is with cost reduction. There's a lot of good removal that targets a higher cost threshold than there is like removal based on power. And the cycle itself doesn't put the card in the discard, which is one of the main reasons why Sakazuki was so strong. It played so many cards that actually pulled from discard that like discarding a card essentially was just making your hand bigger, right? It wasn't really a cycle, it was more like kind of draw a card for free every turn. With this Marco's ability, the fact that you have to put the card back means that it's not something you get access to in your discard, and there's no cards in red and blue that can really access your discard anyway. But in that regard, I don't think it's right to compare this to Sakazuki. I think it's going to play completely differently. In fact, the red and blue sides of the card don't really have any synergy with each other at all, right? The red side is focused on power reduction, meanwhile blue has no cards that interact with power at all, really. Not that I know of, but the ways that people think this Marco will be used though is mainly for the blue side of the ability to put a card back on top of your life. Because there are cards like this Nami, for instance, where you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a character with a power of 6,000 or more, Nami gets plus 3k, so you have a 2-cost 6k attacker that you can attack with pretty early on. And the way that Marco synergizes with Nami is that the card that you put on top can be that 6k power or more character that she checks for. So you can kind of guarantee that she'll have 6k power when she attacks. But this is probably one of the more worse options you could use, right? The thing that people are most hyped on is this 9-cost Sanji here. From OP06, what this Sanji does is on play, you can reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a 9-cost or less, that is not another Sanji, you can play it for free. So basically, you can guarantee what this Sanji cheats out, and most likely you'll want to find another 9-cost you can play, and luckily for us, there's a lot of strong 9-cost in red and blue. On the red side of things, we have this Shanks, 9-cost 10k rush, and can attack through 2k power blockers. So being able to play a 9-cost 9k and then a 9-cost 10k rush attacker on the same turn seems like a pretty strong play. If you want to go for something more removal heavy, you could play like this Mihawk and just bottom deck a 7-cost. So you'll have 2 9k bodies on board and your opponent will be down 1. Or if you want to go defensive, you could play Sanji into this 9-cost Whitebeard. So yeah, you'll have 2 big bodies on board, one's a 9k, one's a 10k, and then Whitebeard's on play. Makes your leader a 7k base power leader until your next turn, giving you extra defenses. And then you don't even need to play a 9-cost to get the most value out of Marco. I think people are also suspecting that Ace might be a good play, right? He's only 7 costs, but he does have Rush since Marco is a Whitebeard Pirates type leader. Then he can give minus 3k to 2 characters. So this could allow you to attack your leader into something, and then this Ace into something, clearing 2 cards on board. And that's just the blue side of the card. The red side, while not as strong, still is pretty useful. You can just give minus 2k power to something for 1 Dawn attached to your leader. This means that at any point, if your opponent has a rested character, you can almost always remove it with your leader swing at it, if it's not too high of a base power character. Right? If your opponent swung with a 4-cost on their turn, most likely you'll be able to kill it on the clapback with your leader ability. Right? Because you'll be a 6k swinging into something, you give minus 2k. And then, yeah, the minus 2k, while not as useful as minus cost for removal, you do still have some options for that. There's the 5-cost Marco who can kill a 3k on play, and then Vista who can do the same, and also Seaquake if you want it like a 1 Dawn option for removal. And since we are a Whitebeard Pirates type leader, we can use this card. So because of that, the versatility of this card and the strong combo nature of Sanji, People think that Marco might be pretty viable on release, but we'll have to see. Up next is this King card. So purple black King, his effect is activate main once per turn, Dawn -2. That's returning 2 Dawn from your field back into your Dawn deck. You can choose one of 2 effects. So you can either draw a card if your hand is at 5 cards or less, or you can give up to one of your opponent's characters -2 cost this turn. Initially, a lot of people think this card might be a little lackluster. I personally think that it'll depend on what Black Animal Kingdom Pirates cards that they'll print. We already have an established base of purple ones. His leader effect in a vacuum though, I guess when you're at 10 Dawn, you do get to like basically draw a card for free every turn, right? Because you'll -2 Dawn, go down to 8, and then ramp back up to 10 next turn anyway. And then if you just spend that Dawn before you minus Dawn, then basically you get to draw a card if you're at 5 or less cards in hand. Which, yeah, does sound pretty strong in the late game when you're like playing like Wars of Attrition with your opponent. The -2 cost part probably might not be as relevant unless they print something to make it relevant. Because the purple cards that do KO also require you to minus Dawn, so you're minusing 2 Dawn to give -2 cost and then minusing more Dawn to kill something. That might be too much minusing. One interesting thing to note with this purple-black color combination that is something that I wish I could do way back in OP01 is that you can play the cards that can't be KO'd, like this Borsalino or Fukuro or the Smoker. And then you can play this 10 cost purple Kaido that can Dawn -6 and KO everything on board if your leader is Animal Kingdom Pirates, which King is. So with Kaido and then these un-KOable blockers and attackers, Kaido actually kills everything except them. They cannot be KO'd by effects. So they'll actually stay on board, giving you a way to clear your opponent's board only, really. Which can be pretty strong if you think about it. So this might be like the way to play King. I don't know, that's kind of like a power fantasy that I've always wanted to do. I wanted to do it with Zephyr, but he's not an Animal Kingdom Pirates card. So because of that, you can't really play Kaido with it. But now that we have King, this is definitely something I'm going to try to do. Even if it's jank, it'll be fun to do. But could be actually viable. I don't know. Might just be me coping. There's also this new Pudding card, Purple Yellow Pudding. This is another card that people might think will be meta, right? Because it combines purple ramp and yellow late game, which is pretty scary. But what this Pudding does is, when attacking, you may turn the top 2 life cards of your life deck face up, and then you can just add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck as rested. So as long as you can reveal the top 2 cards of your life, you can ramp 1 Dawn rested for free, or when attacking, basically, but that's almost free. So what people are hype on this card is that you can actually reach 10 Dawn on your 4th turn, similarly to how like Purple Luffy does it, and that made Purple Luffy a viable deck, so it should do the same for Pudding. And Pudding also has access to yellow, and she doesn't have to take life to do it. So how do you get to 10 in 4 turns? Well, on your 2 Dawn turn, you could play like a Searcher or nothing at all, you just pass, and then on your 4 Dawn turn, you'll play something like Mr. 2 or Ein to ramp up to 5. You tag with your leader, use your leader ability, ramp up to 6. On your 8 Dawn turn, you could play something like a 7 Mom or just play blockers or do anything really. You're not going to need to ramp because naturally on the next turn, you'll hit 10 to be able to play 10 Mom. A card that heals you for 1 life and makes your opponent take 1 life, and then she's a 12k attacker after that. Pretty scary. They might even print other 10 drops in purple or yellow in the new set. By this point, your opponent would have been at 7 Dawn, right? So they're at 7 and you just went to 10, you're able to play a 10 drop while they're still playing 7s. Going first, it's a little more tricky. You'll need 2 cards to get 10 on your 4th turn. So you start at 1 Dawn, you'll pass. On your 3 Dawn turn, you'll have to play something like this Jack, right? You'll need like a 3 cost card that can ramp you 1 Dawn. So you'll need to play something like Jack on 3, ramp up to 4. You can attack with your leader, ramp up to 5. Pass turn comes back to you, then you'll have to play something like Mr. 2 or Ein at this point to ramp up to 8. And then you'll naturally go to 10 next turn on your 4th turn, allowing you to 10 Mom the same way. But because this method requires 1 extra card, in that you need like a 3 cost ramp card, pretty sure most Puddings will opt to go second, where you just need like 1 Mr. 2 or an Ein to ramp up to 4, to ramp on your 4 Dawn turn. That would be the most safest, I think. Yeah, so because of that, people do think this Pudding might be pretty viable in the meta. if it's safe enough to drop a 10 drop on your 4th turn. But to be honest, with the power and speed of Red Purple Law, that might be kind of hard. And then lastly, we have a new Shandora Warrior type leader. We have Calgara. So what Calgara does is Dawn ×1 when attacking. Put a character with the Shandorian Warriors type from your hand into play that has a cost equal to or less than the number of Dawn you control. Then if you played a card this way, put the top card of your life into your hand. So pretty interesting effect for a yellow leader. It doesn't heal, actually. It's more of an aggro kind of effect, which is way different than any other yellow leader so far. Because what his leader ability does is force you to cheat out a bunch of bodies and make you take life to do that. And then judging from the current package of Shandorian warriors, we have like Wiper. He's probably the most usable one, where you can place a stage card with the cost of 1 at the bottom of its owner's deck. Then you can search for another stage card or a Shandian. Is it called Shandian in English? Shandian Warriors type card and add to your hand. So this means on your 5 Dawn turn, if you attach Dawn to Calgara and you attack, you do get to cheat out Wiper for free. And then you take 1 card from your life, add it to your hand. Then you still have 4 more Dawn for the turn to use to play maybe another character. There's also Raki, who gets blocker if you have another Shandoran Warriors type card on the board. So this might be actually a playable card if they print more Shandian Warrior cards. 1 cost blocker doesn't sound too bad. And yeah, it seems like all the Shandian, Shandorian, whatever characters depend on like a stage card on field to activate some of their effects. So maybe they'll print a new 1 cost stage card in yellow in the new set, because the only one that they have access to is this Upper Yard, which lets you search the top 5 cards of your deck for a Sky Island type card and add to your hand. And yeah, they are all Sky Island, but they're also Shandian Warriors, so it makes kind of like an archetype of cards in Sky Island that Enel can't run. Will he be good though? I think this one also depends entirely on the new Shandian, Shandorian Warriors that they print in 08. Just gut feeling, he doesn't sound too great. Even Vegapunk, even though I thought he would be pretty good, he ended up being a little lackluster. I think Enel is kind of like stealing the spotlight now in the yellow arena. But yeah, new monocolor yellow leader, would love to see him open up the like avenues for a more like beatdown type of yellow deck. And I'm sure with him being yellow, there's probably going to be ways to heal. A Shandorian Warriors type character that can heal, because I don't think they let you take a life every turn just to cheat out characters and not survive. So yeah, expect that to come soon. That's my prediction. So that's all the leaders in 08 that have been revealed, and my initial impressions of them based on the current card pool and what I think they might print. In regards to which ones I'm most excited for, probably not Calgara, even though I really like this Lucky card. Pudding might be a little exciting, but I don't know. It's gonna devolve into like just ramp to 10, kind of brain dead gameplay. I think people might complain about that, but it might be a pretty simple deck to play. But maybe good for beginners, good for teaching people the game. King, I'm probably most interested in being able to do my unable to KO plus Kaido combo, but in terms of him being viable, I'm a little iffy on that. But I think he'll be a fun deck to be jank with, at least. But if this playstyle of cannot be KO'd plus Kaido does end up working pretty well, don't forget you heard it here. And then Marco, yeah, he's the most exciting like mechanic-wise, but pretty sure everyone's going to be on the Marco train, and I tend to gravitate away from decks that everyone else is like hyping up. That might just be the contrarian in me. Nothing personal against Marco. I don't know. It's just that if everyone thinks he's cool, then I don't want to play him. So that's just the me thing. Carrot, I don't know, might be doomed. But I don't know, maybe they'll print really good Minx cards. Same for Chopper. Sounds kind of doomed for now, but it really just depends on what they print. So I'm excited to find out what they'll do with Carrot and Chopper here. And Calgara. So for now, I'll stay hopeful. With King, I'll be on the King train, unless something else spicy gets revealed by the time 08 is out, and I'll change my mind. But yeah, thanks for watching my 08 leader first impressions video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want. A lot of you aren't subscribed even though you watch my videos every day. But yeah, I would appreciate it, and let me know what you guys think of these new cards. Let me know if there's any synergies or like card choices I may have missed, because there's so many cards now. I'm probably sure I missed something somewhere. So if you guys could let me know, Or if you guys just want to discuss it in the comments, I'll be there. Alright, bye.
Car D Kaizoku.